For years, Canadian artist Tory Lanez was a hit-making machine, blending rap and R&B to create a string of successful albums and chart-topping singles. His talent was undeniable, and he had solidified his place as a major player in the music industry. But in one night, his entire career trajectory was horrifically and permanently altered. Welcome back to Mindset Devil. One mistake. That's all it takes. You can have millions of dollars, platinum records, sold-out shows, and fans screaming your name, but in hip-hop, one bad move can flip the script forever. Let me ask you this before we get started. What do you think is harder to come back from? A criminal charge, or losing respect from the culture? Because in this game, your rise to the top can take years, but your downfall, that can happen in a single night. And tonight, we're breaking down the scandals that turned rap superstars into cautionary tales. 2020, following a party at Kylie Jenner's house, Lanez was in a car with superstar Megan Thee Stallion when an argument broke out. One thing led to another, and suddenly, the police had their vehicle on a highway surrounded. At some point, the occupants of the vehicle, Megan, Tory, and one of Megan's female friends, whose name is not really important, were all ordered to come out with their hands up.
Get out of the vehicle, hurry up, we're ready to take a minute. Face away from us. Come hold your hands up.
Okay, my hands are up.
Okay, get out.
6443.
Face away from us. Face away from us. Okay, keep moving back, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Keep moving, keep moving, okay, stop. Move a little to the right. Get on your knees. Lay on your side. Lay on your side. Lay back. Arms out, hold 69.
I know.
Once the cops moved in to handle business, that's when they noticed Megan was limping around. The reason was because she had been shot in the foot and she was leaking blood. Megan testified that, before cops got involved, there was, in fact, a heated argument between them, to which Tory Lanez pulled out a handgun and threatened her. And as she walked away from the vehicle, Lanez fired a handgun at her feet, yelling, "Dance, bitch." The incident and its aftermath became a cultural firestorm, highlighting the serious issues of misogyny and the protection of black women in the entertainment world. Megan initially told police she had stepped on glass out of fear, but later publicly identified Lanez as the shooter. What followed was a highly publicized and vitriolic legal battle where Lanez maintained his innocence.
Megan Thee Stallion arrived at a Los Angeles courthouse this morning where she testified about what she says happened on the night of July 12th, 2020. Performer Tory Lanez is accused of shooting her after a night out, but his attorney claims that he's innocent and that this is all just a case of jealousy. ABC's Zareen Shah was in the courtroom today. Zareen, what did Megan say happened that night?
Lindsay, it wasn't just what she said happened, it's how she said it. She was really emotional in court today. She said, this story is not just about a shooting. This story is about who I had sex with. You remember yesterday the defense, they were really pitting her against her friend, talking about the fact that they shared intimate partners, multiple intimate partners. She said in court today, I had just done a song with Beyonce. I did something of my dreams and I was shot at. And she said, they're calling this the Megan Thee Stallion trial. I am not on trial. I wish he would have killed me. If I knew I would have to go through this torture, I wish he would have killed me. She did say a lot that was very, very important, aside from just some of the really emotional things that she said. She dropped some bombshells. She says that Tory offered her $1 million to keep quiet, that he said, please don't say anything, and that he told her, I was already caught with a gun, I'm on probation. She says he was not worried about her at all.
Wow, really dramatic testimony there. And what did Tory's attorney tell you that their goal was for the cross-examination today?
You know what, I asked him right before lunch. I said, so what's your goal? What do you hope to accomplish today? He said, we're going to show how she lies. And you could certainly tell, sitting in that courtroom, that that was their goal. The defense attorney said, you lied on national TV. Megan said, yes. He said, you lied to Detective Stockman. She said, yes. He said, you lied about having an intimate relationship with Tory. She said, yes. Look, we know that she has not been truthful about her intimate relationship with Tory. She now says that they did have an intimate relationship. And then the defense attorney pressed her on some really granular details. And there were some moments where she said, I don't remember. I could have. Maybe. You could tell that he was really trying to poke holes in her story that she gave to her lawyers. He also said yesterday, Lindsay, and this was one of the most interesting things that I think he said yesterday, he said there was a witness who saw a female with a gun. It's a really important detail. And then my producer, Abby, saw the lawyer today, and she said, can you clarify this? What do you mean about with a gun? And I pressed him upstairs about this as well, and he says, I said, do you mean holding a gun? And he said, no, with a gun. He basically meant in the vicinity of a gun, near a gun. Mind you, this is not something that the jurors know. They are still remembering what he said yesterday, that a witness saw a female with a gun. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens with that detail, if that's clarified for the jurors.
Such a steamy case. You actually have steam rising all around you, Zareen Shah. Our thanks to you.
However, in December 2022, a Los Angeles jury found him guilty of 3 felonies, including assault with a semi-automatic firearm. In August 2023, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The conviction was a definitive end to his mainstream career. Radio stations and streaming platforms began to limit his music, and the guilty verdict turned him from a popular artist into a convicted felon, effectively silencing the career he had built.
Today, a jury of 7 women and 5 men decided rapper Tory Lanez' criminal fate. Guilty, guilty, guilty on assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a concealed, not registered firearm in a vehicle, and discharge of a firearm with gross negligence. Lanez, whose legal name is Daystar Peterson, is convicted of shooting rap superstar Megan Thee Stallion in the foot after a house party in July 2020. Both sides built their case around jealousy. The defenses revolved around a jealous love triangle, while prosecutors shrugged that off as prejudice, saying her love life was only brought up in court because she is a woman. Instead accusing Lanez of having a bruised ego, jealous of Megan's status, she testified he shot her after she insulted his career.
Constantly having to prove she's a victim because society sides with a man.
Megan testified on the consequences she has faced by bringing this case to court, but has felt the need to amplify the struggle Black women face in getting criminal justice as victims and feeling protected as women in the rap industry. The conviction eases her of the former. Her attorney tells ABC News, quote, "The jury got it right. I am thankful there is justice for Meg." While District Attorney George Gascon says, "You faced unjust and despicable scrutiny that no woman should ever face, and you have been an inspiration to others across LA County and the nation." Tory Lanez and the rest of the courtroom didn't really have a reaction when the verdict was read, but immediately after there were so many emotions. His dad and his father's wife both stood up to yell at prosecutors, calling them evil and wicked. This was right after the jurors had exited the courtroom. So he was yelling at them. It turned into quite the scene. Tory Lanez at one point actually got up alongside his defense attorneys to try and de-escalate as they were escorted out, which took about a minute or so. And then Lanez surrendered himself to deputies who took him into custody. He faces up to 22 years in prison. His sentencing is scheduled for January 27th.
And to make matters even worse, Tory Lanez is reportedly not living the gangsta rap life in prison some may have expected from him. Tory Lanez has had a taste of what prison life is really about, being a victim of an actual prison assault that almost made him the opening act at a Tupac concert. Tory Lanez was stabbed multiple times by a fellow inmate at the California Correctional Institution on May 12, 2025, requiring hospitalization and causing his lungs to collapse. He is now recuperating and able to breathe on his own, but he is still recovering from the attack. All of that for taking things a little too far after a night of partying with a woman he should have been having an even better night with after that limo ride. The irony of him allegedly shooting Megan Thee Stallion in her foot is, as it turns out, he ended up shooting his own self in the foot also. Well, at least metaphorically, that is. Now tell me, do you think Tory Lanez will ever be welcomed back into music once he's released, or is his reputation permanently destroyed? I want to hear your take. In hip-hop, respect for the architects is a golden rule, and breaking that rule can have serious consequences for your reputation. Fivio, a leading voice in the Brooklyn drill scene, learned this the hard way. After gaining massive traction with hits like Big Drip and a star-making feature on Kanye West's Off the Grid, Fivio's career was soaring. He had even gotten the opportunity to collaborate with the legendary Queens rapper Nas on a track called Spicy from Nas's Grammy Award-winning album King's Disease, seemingly getting a stamp of approval from one of the genre's most revered figures. But in an August 2025 podcast appearance hosted by Jim Jones, who himself was recently going viral for talking greasy about Nas himself, to which netizens have been letting Jim feel the fire from his words forever since. So, with the working relationship Fivio and Nas had together, that ended up being Nas's first ever Grammy. While giving Fivio part of that credit, hip-hop fans were most likely expecting to hear Fivio talk highly of the rap great. But if that was what they were anticipating, then that quickly went out the window when Fivio opened his mouth.
But look what I just went through with the whole Nas situation and shit like that. You know, like, it's me being me, but I know how to twist. I do these things to
better than I. I'm gonna tell you why.
No, let's.
Can I just say why? All right, let me just say one thing. What I feel. I grew up with niggas like Sosa, Gino, and I'm not saying that the man is whack and he's not a legend and he's been out for years. So I got a song with the nigga and I got a song on the album and the album got a Grammy. But I can't sit there and say a Nas bar to you or a song. I like One Mic.
Fivio made a shocking reversal. When asked about Nas's influence and impact on him growing up, he stated that, "I'm not saying that the man is whack, he's definitely a legend, but I can't sit here and say a Nas bar to you or a song." He ended that statement by saying that he liked the Nas song One Mic. He literally acted clueless about all the other groundbreaking tracks that Nas penned throughout his career. Is it really possible for Fivio to have lived in New York for 35 years of his life and somehow avoided hearing songs like New York State of Mind, If I Ruled the World, Hate Me Now, Made You Look, which is one of my personal favorites? And let's not forget the time Nas and Jay-Z were at verbal war, and Nas crucified Jay with the ultimate diss track of all time, the song Ether. And these are just some of the lyrical masterpieces that Nas gave the hip-hop culture. So for Fivio to only say he only feels or remembers One Mic, I think surprised all hip-hop fans. But is it really possible for Fivio to have been living in Brooklyn all his life and truly never heard those Nas classics or even felt his impact? Fivio then continued on to add, "I grew up listening to Chief Keef and the Chicago drill scene, which was crazy for many fans to hear come out of Fivio's mouth, especially from someone that was already 21 years old when Chief Keef first came out, and Chief Keef himself was only 16 at the time."
So now that we on that type of shit, so who were some of your biggest influences as rappers coming up? Like, who made you feel like you wanted to become a rapper? Who was some of the people that you wanted to dress like? Like, let me hear some of that, because that's the essence of what makes a nigga become a basketball player, what makes a nigga become, like, who was that for you?
I'm gonna keep it real. I was infatuated with Chief Keef in Chicago. The shit was so, it was just like, it was crazy. I liked it. Meek Mills. Pain was crazy. I loved Dipset. Jim Jones, Joel Santana.
Thank you.
No lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was like, they when we was young, well, Gino was Joel's. They used to call me Duke the God.
The comment was a stunning departure from his own words in 2022 when he defended Nas against 21 Savage, calling him the GOAT who done too much to be disrespected like that.
Fivio, I gotta ask you, man, you're the king of New York right now.
Yeah.
So when I'm hearing about this craziness about Nas, who he's worn the crown in New York for a year.
Yeah, that's a fact.
What do you think about
I heard what they
the
was
slimy
saying and
top?
all that. That Nas did too much to, you know what I'm saying, to be like, you know what I'm saying, to be disrespected like that, you know what I'm saying. That's Big Bro where I'm from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was just on his album. We just got a Grammy for the album I just was on.
You got a Grammy, so that's so when you're talking about relevancy, do you see any part of the argument to be factual? Because I mean, I get it.
No. He did too much.
So there's no way he could ever be irrelevant based on what.
That's like you know what I'm saying. When you a legend, it's like you can do what you want. You come back when you want. You leave when you want. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You can do what you want.
Any message to, I mean, even Kodak was even saying, yeah, that's crazy. Don't say.
I like Kodak.
The backlash from hip-hop fans was swift and brutal. Many questioned his judgment for disrespecting a legend who had just featured him on a Grammy-winning project. The moment was seen as a desperate grab for clout that backfired, damaging his credibility within the culture and leaving fans wondering why he would burn such a significant bridge. So let me ask you, was this just an honest opinion that people overreacted to? Or did Fivio commit the ultimate culture sin by disrespecting Nas? You let me know in the comments below. My general belief is that Fivio was trolling to keep himself viral at any cost, even if it meant burning down a bridge to do it. Lil Durk rose from the violent streets of Chicago to become the authentic voice of the drill movement and a global superstar. Through his Only the Family OTF collective, he launched the career of artists like King Von and earned a Grammy and platinum plaques. In recent years, Durk had worked to change his narrative, launching the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation to give back to his community and promoting a message of peace.
Big day, exciting day for the kids, definitely. Just getting back to the community, rocking out with us, you know what I'm saying, showing love. I think you got a big negative vibe in Chicago right now, you know what I'm saying, they're just somewhat trying to change. They ain't expected for us to do it. But definitely, man, I'm excited to see the kids.
He seemed to be successfully balancing his street credibility with mainstream stardom. However, the streets he spoke about in his music came back to haunt him in the most severe way possible.
Lil Durk is charged in a murder for hire plot.
Lil Durk's real name is Durk Bank, and he is from Chicago. This is his mugshot from Florida, where he was arrested last night and is being held without bond. This comes only hours after 5 people associated with his music business were also accused in taking part in that murder for hire plot. Now, the plot targeted rapper Quando Rondo's cousin, who was killed in 2022. Investigators believe it was retaliation for the earlier murder of Chicago rapper King Von.
In October 2024, Lil Durk was arrested on federal murder for hire charges. Prosecutors alleged that Durk and his OTF associates plotted to kill rival rapper Quando Rondo in retaliation for the 2020 death of King Von. The plot resulted in the death of Rondo's cousin.
Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in one car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
Can I get some space, please?
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital.
The indictment painted OTF not just as a record label, but as a criminal enterprise, with prosecutors claiming Durk helped fund and organize the conspiracy. The fallout was immediate. A Chicago suburb rescinded the key to the city they had awarded him, and he was denied bond. Facing a potential life sentence, his music career came to a complete halt, overshadowed by a legal battle that threatens to destroy his empire and his freedom forever. To make matters even worse, the feds are also working on a case that happened before they finally snagged Durk over his alleged connection to the hit on Quando Rondo's life.
Rapper Lil Durk could be linked to a second murder-for-hire plot, this time in Chicago. It has to do with the murder outside the Youth Peace Center of Roseland. It was back in 2022. Police released images of the gunman who shot and killed Stephen Mack. Prosecutors say Mack was gunned down outside the Youth Peace Center. The FBI linked the two men charged with Mack's murder to Durk, they say, using texts and confidential informants. The feds believe this murder was revenge for the death of Lil Durk's brother, but to be clear, Lil Durk has not been charged in connection with Mack's murder.
Apparently, they had already been looking at Lil Durk as the supposed mastermind of another murder-for-hire of a man named Stefan Mack back in 2022. The hit that rubbed out Mack is believed to be in retaliation for Durk's older brother, Dante Banks, at a popular Chicago night spot called Club O in June of 2021. In both of these scenarios, Lil Durk had the perfect motive and the money and resources to make him appear as the man behind both murders. And from what we know so far, he was also implicated in both murders. When you look at and understand who Lil Durk was prior to his hard work, talent, and success taking him to dizzying heights of superstardom, one can easily picture Lil Durk definitely doing what he is accused of. But when you only know the man he became within a few short years after losing the closest people to him as a result of the streets, along with the help he has given so many people and the charity he had become known for through various organizations that work with the communities in which he came from, these images are like night and day. Durk was showing the world one person with good intent could literally move the needle of change. This is why it is hard not to root for someone like him to be able to beat both charges and hopefully get his life back on track and to be able to continue his service to those that could use the help. But if for some reason it's proven that without a shadow of a doubt that he is guilty of any of these accusations, we are talking about two different murders here. This will be very disappointing to everyone that believed in his innocence. And in truth, if he really did the crime, then he has to do the time. This whole thing would definitely be one of the best examples of a person that worked so hard to achieve greatness, made one emotionally bad decision, well, in Durk's case, possibly two bad decisions, that no amount of money could ever repair. Here's a question for you. Is Durk a victim of his environment, or did he dig his own grave by staying too connected to the streets? Also, do you think within yourself that Lil Durk is a completely innocent man who deserves to walk out that prison once he has his day in court? I'm anxious to see how this one plays out. Has there ever been a rise and fall as loud and spectacular as Tekashi 6ix9's? Born Daniel Hernandez, the rainbow-haired rapper from Brooklyn, New York, turned himself into an internet sensation through a calculated mix of shock value and pure aggression. His music was loud, his personality was even louder, and he chased clout relentlessly. And for a short, explosive time, it absolutely worked. Songs like Gummo and Fifi with Nicki Minaj were huge hits, and his constant online antics kept him in the headlines. He was a new, chaotic kind of celebrity, built on viral moments instead of a traditional career path. He was building his image and fan base around a whole image of him being a gang member who was crazy, colorful, and a dangerous character. In his very first video that actually blew up for him, Gummo, the scene was captivating visually, with a Brooklyn neighborhood that looked extremely rough and knee-deep in gang culture. In the video, we saw adults, teens, and even young kids all wearing red rags, representing the Bloods street gang, and every time Tekashi had a chance to get an audience to watch him, he was pushing that tough guy bravado and gang affiliation at every given chance. He wanted the whole world to know that if he had any issues with anyone, his gang, the Trey 9 Bloods, would react swiftly on his behalf. There were incidents like the time Tekashi ran into beef with Jay Prince and his goons, because when he was scheduled to perform in Houston, Texas, he showed up and refused to check in with the Prince family.
But women show up to their own show. Goddamn, you don't want your back in? You don't want your back in? Put some arm shit though. You don't want your back in? Yeah, I know. question to answer, brother. 169 then.
Niggas running around, nigga. We real gangsters out here, man. This the last time you gonna hear this internet shit from me. But y'all niggas keep talking about Tekashi, man. Y'all keep talking about 6ix9ine like somebody gonna do him something. He got the best protection in the world, nigga. Treyway, nigga. Straight up, nigga. And if y'all niggas try him, somebody touch him, it's on your mama. We gonna see what'll happen, nigga. Fuck wrong with you niggas, man? Cause fuck, what state you in, nigga? That nigga out here trying to get that bag. Y'all ain't gonna fuck up his money cause he's a rock star, you rapping ass niggas. He's a fucking he a rock star. Fuck wrong with you niggas? Get your life up, man. J. Prince Jr., what you ever did, nigga? Come out your father nuts? You fucking faggot.
He seemed insulated and protected. And for a while, it got to the point where you couldn't wait to turn on your computer or open your phone to see what new craziness Tekashi had gotten himself into. But the gang lifestyle he was selling wasn't just an act. His open affiliation with the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods was key to his image, and it would ultimately be his undoing.
Brooklyn-born rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine has been arrested, according to multiple reports. He faces racketeering and firearm charges. The 22-year-old musician will be arraigned in federal court Monday. His former manager and 2 other associates are also in federal custody. According to TMZ, the investigation was a joint effort between ATF, the NYPD, and Homeland Security.
In 2018, Hernandez was arrested with other gang members on federal racketeering and firearms charges. Staring down a possible life sentence, he did the one thing that's considered the ultimate sin in hip-hop culture. He cooperated with the feds. His testimony, or snitching, got him a much shorter sentence, but it completely torpedoed his career in the hip-hop community.
Yo, so what's up, everybody? I woke up in a bad mood. I'm gonna keep it all the way above. I'm supposed to be in a good mood, but I'm in a bad mood. Album just dropped yesterday. I'm looking at all these DSPs. DSPs is Apple Music, Spotify. Yo, they completely shutting us out like if we didn't drop an album. This is on every phone, and I thought I'm bugging, right? This is the main page. And shout out to these artists. This don't really got nothing to do with y'all. This is the platform. This is new music. Let me see it on your phone. It's the same shit. So they act like go to new music. What is this? Spotify? This Apple?
Apple Music.
This Spotify?
Yeah.
We not on there?
We're not on any of it.
So they act like we didn't drop not a single thing.
Zero.
All I'm saying is y'all already took radio away from us. If y'all gonna cheat us, just give us a fair.
While some artists have survived prison time, breaking the street code of silence is often seen as a betrayal that can't be forgiven. When he got out, he tried to make a comeback, and while his music videos still got millions of views, the world had changed. He was an outcast. Other rappers disowned him. Radio stations wouldn't play his music, and the street cred he used to build his brand was now a joke. He became a walking controversy. And while he has still been able to book performances, particularly overseas, the intense security risks and industry blacklisting have made a true return to his former heights nearly impossible. Here's what I want to know. Does Tekashi still deserve to be blackballed, or should fans separate the music from the man? From the courtroom to the comments section, the stories of these artists are a powerful reminder of just how fragile fame can be. In a world that values reputation, one scandal, one feud, or one series of bad tweets can be all it takes to change a career forever. The music might live on, but for these rappers, the spotlight isn't nearly as bright as it used to be. It really makes you wonder who might be the next big name to take a fall. Because in the world of hip-hop, everyone is always watching, and the fans rarely forget. Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading every comment. And by the way, if you care about protecting the hip-hop culture, make sure you hit that subscribe button to join our power structure. And I'll catch you in the next one.